Audio test. Oh, we're good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rogue Trader as we continue my playthrough. Once again, I would like to preface this whole. I'm just going to do this every session. Remember, my playthrough is not indicative of a normal playthrough. I have access to infinite resources. I have access to infinite everything. My stats are through the roof, at least my social stats. Anything for skill checks is way too high than it should be. That's because I am doing this stream essentially for the sake of voice acting. Now, those of you who have played Rogue Trader, you know that this game has a distinct lack of voice acting in a lot of the game. Now, all your companions here on the ship, they have their voices done for them. But when you catch them off planet in the middle of quests or whatever it is, there is a distinct lack of voice acting. And in those moments, I will be giving the voices for those characters to the best of my ability. The idea here is I want to flex my ability to become a voice actor, maybe. Although I'm pretty sure that thing is dead to me, but we'll see. But that is why I am playing through this game again. I've already done this playthrough, already done several playthroughs. I did a full playthrough on my Twitch channel, but I wanted to do one here on YouTube as well, because I can. So, we'll pick up where we left off. We basically started the Void Shadows DLC in its entirety. Several quests have been done, so now we're just going to continue onwards. I am romancing Kibella this time around. My first time was Jay, then I did a couple of run-throughs. I didn't really care about that. Then I did Cassia, and now we're going to do Kibella. So as you can see, for more indicativeness, I have 506 Navigator Insight. You will not have that in a normal case. Keep that in mind. So yeah, not a legit playthrough. Heavily modded, and I get to do whatever I want and get whatever equipment I want whenever I want. I've also made what do you call it? Space combat very easy, because I hate the space combat. So I'll be leveling up my ship very fast, getting all the upgrades as soon as possible, and we'll go from there. But again, to remind everybody, what you're seeing
the celestial stage awaits my performance.
is not a legit playthrough.
Unleash our fury.
Oh, they're just out of range? Just jump ahead. Yeah, sorry about the not playing Big Walk. I got a little irritated with the fact that these workers haven't shown up to my house yet. So because of that, I'm a little like frustrated, and I didn't want to bring that frustration to us playing together. So I do apologize, good sir. No. Lord Captain, we have received a transmission from Foulstone. It was sent by the members of the Order of the Hammer, votaries of Saint Cognitus, whose monastery is the only settlement on the planet. Or rather, it used to be. Some time ago, a transport vessel, the Navica, unloaded several thousand refugees from a planet belonging to the rogue trader Winterscale. The Order of the Hammer has judged this invasion to be an act of aggression and is asking for your lordship's protection. Those people are victims, not invaders. Prepare my shuttle. Let's head down to the planet and resolve this conflict. As it pleases, your lordship. Oh boy. Sector, Coronis Expanse. Region, As Caesar System. Location, Monastery of Saint Cognitus, Foulstone. Material, Chronicle compiled by the humble archivist Brother Petrikos. 611 days after the feast of the passing of Nicomedes Keefe, champion of faith, disquietude marred the calm of the monastery of the Order of the Hammer. Countless tortured souls, steeped in fear, arrived on Foulstone in a star bark. A great apostasy had befallen their home, and they turned them into abject wanderers seeking help and refuge. Their wicked and cruel captain, the owner of the Navica, had betrayed them. Once the unknowing souls in his care had made landfall on the world's surface, he most devilishly recalled all his shuttles, and thus ridding himself of his only duty to care for the unfortunate lot. Not knowing how they would survive in Foulstone's grim wastelands, the forsaken people come to the monastery of Saint Cognatus, and they are surrounded by walls. They hammered their fists on its gate and implored and wailed, "Take us in, protect us!" What was once a place of serenity and grace was now full of din, disorder, and a manner of things despicable. The inflow was brought with them worldly futility and strife, and mayhap also the seeds of alluring blasphemies, if friendly heathens lurked in their midst. Prelate Hecatarius recalled the first missionaries that set foot on Foulstone's vast wasteland, led by their zeal for serving Saint Cognatus. Cognatius. Those missionaries had received the blessing of Nicomedes Keefe, the champion of faith who had traveled with them in their star bark. to found in this place a humble and a pure abode wherein to cultivate wisdom and piety. And Saint Cognitius, a man of great endeavors, a warrior and a wise artificer, never cowered behind the walls of a librarium, but stepped bravely into the darkness, carrying light in the palm of his hand. And only he commanded others to do the same. Not only Falso, but many other worlds the Cronus expanse bear its imprint. And Prelate Hegatarius did welcome interlopers warmly as his guests, but he did warn his brethren to keep their vigilance. The brethren and sisters of the Order of the Hammer came forth to meet the strangers, carrying water, protein victuals, and medicinal herbs and jugs of promethium. But the crowd came to blows over viands, and blood was spilt, and many were trampled or mauled in the stampede. Some of them were dwellers of the monastery. Then the warriors of the Order of the Hammer donned their flak cowls, inscribed words of praise to the God Emperor on their tactical visors, and went forth, ready to render service in battle. With lasguns and bolters, they pierced interlopers with their chainswords and power flails. They struck them, and a great bloody harvest was reaped that day. But the interlopers too scanned through their armament, and scanted their skill in battle, slew many among the monastery's dwellers, for great were their numbers and greater their desperation. The monks fled beyond the walls and rang the vox alarm, and shut the gate, and commanded the armed guard to keep watch over the gate, slaying anyone who approached. A quarrel broke out. The hungry and the sick lay siege to the monastery, begging for help. In their spite, they blocked the water collector and the underpowered janitorium. The faithful, in the meantime, made ready to resist. A miracle came to pass. The God Emperor sent his champion, his confidant, his right hand, the rogue trader of the blessed house von Valencius. May the light of his grace repain upon it forever. The blessed rogue trader. Extended a veil of protection over the interlopers, taking them into his care, and thereby all of Falstone with them. Humbly the Order of the Hammer heeded the God Emperor's confidant, and unsealed the airlocks and opened the gates of its abode, and brought forth gifts of virtue to relieve the suffering from the ill-stricken. After a prayer, the architect set to work, in accordance with the saint's teachings and the parameters set by the standard template construct. They erected spacious living quarters and sturdy fort walls for the planetary militia, and a spacious auditorium wherein to trade and store goods, and proud senatorium within those walls, clerks, and server bondsmen would maintain order and keep statistical records. Jesus, I'm reading this terribly. Oh, fucking hell. And a new, yet righteous way of life had come to Falstone. And the people rejoiced, and all was good. Way, our first location. Oh shit, hell yeah, dude. Okay, that's that started. Yes, you are, but I'm here for it. I apologize for my extremely mediocre performances so far. Reading is hard, especially when you're dyslexic like me. Okay. I guess we hit up Omicron. Lord Captain, I hasten to report disturbing news brought to me by the machines of the spirit of the ship. The matter is extremely delicate and concerns Lady Cassia. You see, since her first day aboard, her presence has been a disturbance of the crew's way of life. If you'll allow, I'll have a prepared detailed report. Deliver your report. The first incident occurred immediately after our ship's departure from Urak 5. The late navigator chastised one of the ship's runners, after which he went to his living quarters, killed his family, and then shot himself. The second incident was noted while traversing the warp. The lady navigator gave the pilots the wrong instructions, and the void ship was thrown off course for a matter of minutes, but this was enough for the forces of the Imperium to anger the mission spirits, enough for them to start fire in the service bay. After that, officers living near the lady navigator's quarters began to express extreme emotions. Hysteria, apathy, euphoria, rage. This is quite detrimental to crew morale and performance. The last incident was recorded on Footfall. Around 100 living birds were delivered upon during our stay on Footfall. Each bird cost a hefty sum, but I have failed to discover their purpose and their subsequent fate. I was also told about the conflict between the Lady Navigator and the Seneschal. Alas, with no details. If you'd like, you can ask Master Viserion directly. Things are even worse with Jay Hidari. I incepted a voxcast in which she promised she would, and I quote, end that Kashka if she ever saw her again. If I may, Lord Captain, Lady Navigator's state of mind worries me. She is self-contained and does not mesh with the crew at all, which is why everyone avoids her. Even senior officers can be superstitious. I fear that only you are in a position to talk to her on equal footing and improve the situation, for the sake of the crew's safety and that of Lady Cassia herself. Cassia. My mutant darling. Why are you terrorizing my crew?
Lord Captain?
I heard you and Cassie exchanged words recently. What happened?
And who brought this piece of news to you, I wonder? Then again, I have nothing to hide from you. Of late, the helmsmen have been going off course with increasing frequency, and the reports are full of contradicting accounts. The problem continued, even after several demotions were handed out, so I took it upon myself to investigate. I was astonished to learn that our Lady Navigator has been amending entries in the ship's log, and the officers have been keeping silent on her orders. I immediately demanded an end to the outrageous conduct, and I reprimanded Lady Cassia in front of the officers. She greeted my words with silence, and then quickly departed. I should not have acted thus. I never even found out what drove her to do it.
We'll take my leave until next time, Seneschal.
Lord Captain.
Okay, Cassia. The fuck is the problem?
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations.
I have heard rumors that you are not getting along well with the crew. Panic flashes in her ruby-red eyes and your heart starts beating a little faster while your hands go cold.
Not here. I'm begging you. Aren't noblemen supposed to discuss such things away from the servants?
Let's go to my study. No one will disturb us there.
Then lead the way, and I will answer all of your questions.
See, again, why isn't her voicing the... What is it you want to talk about, Lord Captain? I have nothing to say to your unfounded accusations about my conflicts with the crew. I cannot recall my having a single quarrel with any of you people during my entire time aboard. You have been willfully changing entries in the ship's logbook and forbidding officers from reporting it to Abelard. I beg to differ. I've read numerous books on the Astra Nataris. I can swear on House Roselio's honor that your officers are entering data in complete contravention of regulation. False terms, random distances between lines, spelling mistakes, even the simplest of words. I spent the last few cycles correcting the latest log entries, and I thought it would please Master Abelard, as he is so fond of order. And yet the Seneschal did not appreciate my efforts and for some reason called them an outrage, even though mere days before he had been swaddling me in warm yellow words. I notice all your people do this when they are expressing sympathy. I merely wanted to repay the Seneschal with the same courtesy. Perhaps you find my friendliness off-putting. The messenger you rebuked butchered his own family and then killed himself. I haven't rebuked a single errand boy on this ship. Cassia ponders this for a moment. I think I remember. A kind young man with a shy smile and skillful fingers with too much rotten ochre on his shoulders. I grew tired of the disgusting color and advised him to lighten his burden by casting the weight off his shoulders. He did not come the next day, or ever again. During warp voyage, you gave the wrong orders, which led to the vessel shifting off course and the subspace being destroyed. Like the name he chose? Hell yeah, bro. I saw something in the warp, something vast, predatory, shimmering with indescribable colors. It came from nowhere and stared at the ship with hundreds of hungry eyes, right there in our path. I decided to change the course while it was still possible, but did not want to sow panic. Would it have been better to tell the crew we were heading straight to a monster's gaping maw? The officers are reluctant to be quartered next to your chambers because of the constant emotional outbursts it causes them. Some even maim themselves and others. I already told you I cannot control my abilities. What else do you want from me? Will I be assigned a pariah chaperone? Will you put me in suppressing shackles? Would you mind telling me why you needed 100 species of bird and what you used them for? Immediately I am at a loss myself. The day we arrived in Footfall, I sent a request to the ship's quartermaster and asked him to get me a songbird. But he never asked for clarification, and shortly before we left, I had a countless number of cages delivered to me, all wrapped in bright red panic with flickering hints of fear. There was a bird in every one. I was so excited, I thought I would have 100 friends instead of just one. They were squeaking so piteously, I let the poor things out. I even fed them my breakfast and dinner. But the stupid birds would not stop chittering even after bedtime. They were dashing about the room, smacking me in the face with their wings and defecating. I became angry, and suddenly they started pecking at each other's eyes and attacking me. Then I became afraid, and they all fell over dead. I do not think I want to keep pets anymore. I think I've heard enough. Okay. You have a kind soul, but have difficulty reaching out to people. I can teach you the art of communication if you'd like. That would be wonderful. My education on Urak 5 was cut short, but I realized by then that the wisdom of books is a poor substitute for the wisdom of experience. Very well. Since we are done with this misunderstanding, I would like to change the subject. It would only be fair to ask you a few questions now, wouldn't it? Cassia hesitates and continues in a less confident tone. Do not mistake me. I'm not going to accuse you of anything. It's just that you are the most worthy interlocutor on the entire ship. You are always so busy. What would you like to ask? I read a treatise by Pius de Mobius very recently who claimed that the subjects would never believe their new ruler was better than the old one unless the old one had been a tyrant. No matter the circumstances, the low-born rabble become deluded about their prospects and rebel in favor of their base desires. What do you make of that? Okay, so we go. The interpretation of this classical text is not entirely correct. The subjects have grown accustomed to the ruling house. All the sovereign must do is refrain from breaching long-standing traditions. Adjust unwanted laws as gradually as you would shift the bed of a flooded river, and no one will ever take your power from you. Cassia thinks for a moment and then smiles. Indeed, I was not wrong about your merits, or your ability to hold a conversation. I hope my second question does not confound you either. According to the 20 tomes penned by preacher Oistakifan of the Forgotten, mercy and cruelty go through the world hand in hand. My people flock to only one hand of the scales. Would you rather inspire fear in your followers, or be magnanimous and choose awe? Ooh, okay. Yeah, fuck it. I will exercise restraint and lenience in my actions. Excessive suspicion and mistrust harden the hearts of the people and turn them against each other. My God, I'm so gassy today. There is so much power in your words. Power that makes me want to join you. I understand now why your subjects are eager to follow you. I admit, I was afraid we were too different, and yet you helped me realize that I can be candid with you. Please do continue. I must confess that sometimes I can hardly bear the burden the house has placed upon me. I feel I'm not doing my best. Tell me, How you, heir to a protectorate, can bear the responsibility for billions of lives day after day and not stoop under all the weight. It's not always easy, but I try to lead the dynasty towards prosperity by worthy means. Thank you for your patience, Nero. You helped me to see the world in different colors, a novel experience for me. Our conversations hold a special place in my heart. Allow me to bid you farewell for now. I'm heading back to my chambers to consider today's conversation. As you were, Cassio. Why are you dabbing, bro? Jay.
Allow me to thank you again for helping me with the cargo, Sherin. I am sure the Ashmags who squirreled away my goods won't give up so easily, and I'll hear more about their scheming yet. Let's strike a deal, Sherin. I will watch your back if you do me a favor and watch mine. Well, enough jokes. Is there something you wanted?
I can't place her accent at all.
Oh, I have no doubt you will.
I don't know what her accent is. I can't tell what it is. Like, it's very strange. It's like French, but it's not. I don't know. It's weird. Even then, I'm just like, what is that? What is that accent? I'm very curious as to what it is. True, I'm also very curious. Offering up prayers to the machine god, the auger operators turned their blessed optics towards the very epicenter of a raging magnetic storm. In spite of the thick haze of static covering the auger's picked vases, something unexpected appeared. The auger crew have detected signs of life under the planet's surface. There in the caves is a man-made complex. According to the ship's archives, this world is uninhabitable and devoid of useful resources, so the presence of someone's base seems intriguing. Ready to explore? The officers disembarked next to the suspicious cave. The entrance to the cave turned out to be blocked by a massive plasteel door, once pierced by a melter charge and shortly patched up. Within, an ambush awaited your team. Attackers with emaciated bodies pounced from the darkness without warning. Yeah, true. The enforcers of the Von Valence dynasty reacted with lightning speed. They walked away from the vicious battle not only victorious, but having captured the enemy commander. True. While a shuttle brought the prisoner aboard the Lord Captain's void ship, scouts searched the base and found a vast hall, walls of which were dotted with cryo vaults. All but one were disabled and contained the remains of some prominent people, judging by their clothes. The last cryo vault was opened and stood empty. In addition, a curious machine was destroyed during the battle. As further inspection would show, this was a very contraption responsible for creating the magnetic storms that blanketed the planet. To see the cemetery from prying eyes, its machine spirit extinguished forever. Tech Priest still managed to extract those parts that still held value. Examine the cryovaults. The Tech Priest said at your command to report that the machine spirits of all cryovaults are healthy and obedient, excepting the one living with the open sarcophagus. This machine spirit is in terrible condition and is afflicted by a great madness, muddying its algorithms. Gotta get the prisoner. Under torture, the bastard confessed to belonging to the cult of Saint Drusus. He and his brothers and sisters were tasked with guarding this strange cemetery and preventing anyone from entering. He equally could not hide the unfortunate inhabitants of the cryovaults were killed by his people. Alas, that was his last confession, as the harsh interrogation finally took its toll. Oh. Okay. Cool, I guess. Again, there could have been more there, but we weren't... Fucking hell. Sure thing, bro. The ruins of an ancient imperial city were discovered on a dead world, completely deprived of an ecosystem. According to the reports, the entire settlement is contained in a titanic glass dome that once held an artificial atmosphere. Their augurs detected the framework of 3 other similar structures that were never completed. For whatever reason, the dome systems failed and left behind the city, a ghost that never managed to become a proper colony of the Imperium. Maybe speak tomorrow, maybe, who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Send a crew to explore the city's temple district. The temple district is situated at the heart of the city. The God Emperor's statue, intricately carved from precious crystal, is suspended beneath the dome, supported by chains of gold that can be seen from anywhere in the colony. Ooh. Nice. Inspired by the majestic sight, the expedition members set off to explore the area with renewed vigor. Soon enough, they stumbled upon an ancient weapon lying on a pedestal wreathed in sunlight. The expedition brought it back to the ship and told many tales of how the Emperor himself, who had been watching over them from above, had directed their attention to the sacred relic. Nice. All this comes to gather as many supplies as possible. The people flooded the city like a tidal wave, filled building after building, bunkhouse after bunkhouse, and receded from its quiet streets just as quickly as there were plenty of useful things among their findings, including foodstuffs and weapons. Doing the remaining fuel, so you won't need them anymore. It takes several trips to deliver the massive Prometheum storage tanks to your vessel. The crew grimly points out the colony was running out of fuel. Had life support systems not failed prematurely, the locals would have perished due to a lack of energy. Explore the local palace. A lavishly decorated estate of the local ruler towers over rows of featureless bunkhouses. Several explorers perished from the cleverly hidden tripwires in the courtyard. After losing their companions, the team easily disarmed the remaining traps in the estate. Anything of value had been promptly delivered to the rogue trader's vessel. The Lord Captain was even given an exquisite sword found in a secret cache that once belonged to the mansion's owner. Ooh. The Dead City. Okay. Down rock. We'll see how these fighter things work. Lord Captain, permission to address you with a request. Our head chirurgeon is sabotaging the ship's operations. He has quarantined several Voidsman crews on account of piddling sickness. The people don't even go to the med bay when they come down with it. They just wipe their noses and keep working. Only a dozen or so die from it for the whole year. We're sitting on our hands here. I'll ask you to talk some sense into him. The box clicks and you hear a dry, nonchalant response. Greetings, your lordship. My name is Letus Forius. I am the chirurgeon majorus of this vessel. As your chief Medicare specialist, I assure you that the quarantine is well warranted. This piddling sickness has claimed the lives of a number of meritorious officers in the past. This time, I intend to get the epidemic under control and let the disease thoroughly develop a proper cure. I hope you will agree with a single period of downtime is a small price to pay for a number of lives will be saved and increase in the crew's performance during such outbreaks in the future. Not to mention the fact that we won't have to waste stimulants due to afflicted using them as a crutch to offset their limited work capacity. How do you intend to study this disease? By gathering enough infected individuals together, letting the illness progress, comprehending its properties, and then finally killing it. The disease goes through several stages, with each containing clues to its nature and vulnerabilities. The Voidsmen will have to stay sick for some time until they discover the cure, assuming, of course, the disease is reversible in its final stages. I remember something about this. Okay. Defeating a disease is a noble goal, but I cannot approve of your methods. Find volunteers among the crew who will agree to being infected in exchange for compensation. Actually, that's the thing. I think he is infecting people with the gene stealer virus. I object to these experiments. Get those Voidsmen back to working fitness. We'll have to find the cure some other way. I wish I could discover the cure by sitting in my office and following my forehead, but reality imposes other demands. Be that as it may, I obey your command. I will search for other means to defeat the disease. Should you require my services, you may find me on the bridge, your lordship. Lord Captain, urgent Vox transmission from the Sector Bionica. Hail, rogue trader! Egan Sorona's voice fills the channel. As you know, there is no unsolvable dilemmas, only poorly formulated questions. You strike me as someone who knows how to ask the right questions, and so I would like to invite you to participate in my scientific research. Will you honor me with your presence in the Sector Bionica? I am intrigued. I shall proceed to you directly, Gerato. Blessed are those who heed the call of the Omnissiah. I look forward to our conversation, rogue trader. On the operating table, several bodies are laid out, their mutations exposed to the chill air. Their chest and abdominal cavities yawn wide, excavated of their augmented organs, now it's nestled in flasks, still connected to the bodies by tubes and cables. Judging by the rhythmic constructions, the organs are still functioning. Egan hovers over the tables, assiduously taking measurements and jabbing mechadendrites into extracted organs or inside their bodies. Nuncius keeps a stoic vigil nearby, an impassive observer of this grotesque spectacle. Take a closer look at the bodies. 3 men of differing ages lie before you. The young, middle-aged, and old. If you look closely, you can see that they still have a semblance of life about them. Each one has had the top of his skull delicately removed, and electrodes are now attached to the bluish-hued brain tissue latticed with blood vessels. Below the neck is one continuous gaping wound, the edges spread and held in place by a complex system of clamps. Examine the young man. The pathologically emaciated build and spindly, almost transparent limbs indicate that this is a void-born. A glass into the open ribcage reveals signs of damage. A sac around the heart is torn and the vessels have been reinforced with metal staples. The poor youth's heart is half augment. Both ventricles have been replaced by pumps, which are connected to the opaque tubes that run to the Medicaid device's reservoir. The young man's neck is tattooed with his bay code and job title. It seems he is a common worker from the lower decks. Examine the man. With his well-developed musculature and strong bones, this man presents a stark contrast to the others. His left arm is missing, along with a part of his shoulder. Shreds of major vessels protrude from a neatly trimmed stump. They have been closed off with bizarre-looking end caps, and are wired to a metal arm lying nearby. The Enforcer's emblem is tattooed on the man's neck, topped with the Von Valencia's coat of arms. Examine the old man. The old man's eyelids are closed and his face is serene. He might appear to be sleeping peacefully were it not for the deathly pallor of his face and his monstrously mangled neck. He had been fitted with a voice implant at some point previously, but had recently been wrenched from the unfortunate man's body. Every so often, the metal hose is now serving as a trachea emits a reedy whistling sound. He is clutching something tightly in his right hand. It's an ornate set of prayer beads, the kind used by ordained servants of the ecclesiarchy. Your examination? Absorbed in his work, Aegon pauses for a moment, listening to Nuncius, then glances at the cogitators and shakes his head. No, dearest colleague, that would be excessive. Aegon, what manner of experiment do you plan to conduct on these men? The Benevolus' massive bulk spins around to face you, his eyes dancing with excitement. Rogue trader, your arrival has triggered a cascade of impulses in the prefrontal cortex of my brain. Delight, that's the word I was searching for. Cast off your worries. The subject of the experiments have been preserved through a combination of alchemical compounds, local transactions of the motive force, and moderately invasive augmentation procedures. In other words, all three are very much alive. Throughout his speech, Aegon's mechadendrites continue their manipulations of the bodies. The crux! All three organisms were found in critical condition. I asked myself, is their usefulness and productive capacity truly at an end? Nonsense. To move from a state of being to a state of non-being entails no benefits or meaning. I personally ensured that their vital functions were preserved. Our goal could not be simpler: to vanquish death by creating a perfect, righteous man. That which I have dubbed the Tria Somata. Needless to say, the procedure is highly experimental and demands a certain looseness of the interpretation in regard to augmentation canons, as well as integration of components that would incur the Imperium's disapproval. But the Omnisci teaches us to surmount any obstacle in the name of knowledge, especially when pursuing a goal of such magnitude. Tria Somata, what is that? The triune essence, the amalgam of the best constituent parts of three individuals who have excelled themselves in service. Metaphysically, it consists of three beginnings: mortal flesh, ferrum sanctum, and righteousness. By creating the perfect combination, we will achieve a totality that is vastly superior to its components in its qualities and usefulness to the Imperium. What is the practical significance of your experiment? In the current state, each of the subjects is doomed. Just as the dying parts of dying mechanisms can be combined to create a functioning machine, so too can these subjects be combined into a single entity, granting them continued life through correct configuration of the ferrum sanctum and organic components of all three. The only thing I require to continue the experiment is a solution to my dilemma, which subject should serve as the basis. Aegon turns his burning gaze to you. Give me a second, guys. Okay. How did you decide to create a triosomata out of these three? There are strong arguments in favor for each of them. Janitor raises a clawed back at Red and begins flexing his manipulators in time with his words. Firstly, they have all performed their service impeccably, which suggests an outstanding human qualities. Secondly, each body is robust enough to receive the blessings of the Omnissiah. And thirdly, there is no other chance of salvation for any of them. Such talk of deviation from canons and mysterious components sounds suspiciously akin to heresy. Far from it. It is a calculated risk taken for the sake of an experiment whose importance surpasses any possible complications many times over. I exercise a great diligence in overseeing the procedure, so there is no cause for alarm. Why are all three subjects so horribly mutilated? Two reasons. The first is that they were previously fatally injured. I have performed numerous rites and manipulations to ensure that each was able to avoid a fatal outcome. The second is that I have been conducting the necessary measurements to fully assess the compatibility of the configurations of Ferrum Sanctum and the organic components for an optimal experimental result. This often requires the extraction of said components. Why is this experiment so important to you? An angry spark zips along the pistons of the manipulator's beard. He floats higher, turning his glowering gaze on the sector's ceiling. Because I cannot abide the senseless waste of potential. I cannot accept that the foolish accident and the fragility of organic flesh can, in an instant, deprive the Imperium of worthy servants. If I am able to extend their service life, I will do so, whatever the cost. Ergen's passionate speed about mistaken for pride and conceit. But something else lies behind it, a doggedness born of some deeply personal experience. This man carries a heavy burden, and the experiment is but one of his many attempts to relieve himself of it at last. Drifting lower once more, Ergen calmly asks, "Any more questions plaguing you, rogue trader?" Organisms. They are not things, Ergen. You're talking about people. Ah, I have seen we found a lacuna in your knowledge of scientific syntax. An organism is... Ergen breaks off and casts a confused look at Nuncius. Apologies, rogue trader. I am not well versed in contact with laypersons. Nuncius far surpasses me in every way when it comes to communication. I recognize that these individuals have minds, desires, and needs. I have not attempted to interfere with their personalities. On the contrary, I wholly admire each of them for their own traits. I use the term organism with nothing but the deepest respect for these men and their vital function. Very well, I will help you, but what role am I to play in this experiment? A decisive one. I can detail the composition and the humor ratio of each experimental subject, measure the mass of the frontal lobe, or answer with a picosecond of accuracy how often their heart contracts. How does one calculate a man's righteousness? How do you weigh diligence of service? You will help me answer these questions by choosing the basis for the triosomata. Your assignment will be the linchpin upon which this experiment hinges. Why not ask Nuncius for advice? My dearest colleague and I have been having more than one concilium, but we have never reached a consensus. Nuncius is a skeptic, as our positions rarely align, but we tend to reach a compromise in the end. But alas, not on this occasion. The only thing we agree on is the need for a third option. Only you can furnish us with said option, with said opinion. This is an incontrovertible fact. What do you understand by the term righteousness? The combination of countless factors that unite thoughts and the deeds of a person into the quintessence of worth of his being within his specific society. I am at a loss to provide a less broad definition, but no matter. Much more important is how you define righteousness. The subject you choose will determine the answer to that question. What is it that Nuncius disagrees with? Those called hovers in a haughty silence, which is broken only by Ergen's sighs of exasperation. Pressing his lips together, the manipulator runs out. To condense his overly pedantic response, Nuncius does not consider righteousness to be in any way a significant factor in this research. Had I any less respect any less respect for my dearest colleague, I would say that this constitutes an egregious misunderstanding of the concept of the triosomata, and is indicative of extreme close-mindedness. But such remarks are beneath me. Before I make my choice, tell me about the merits of all three. Macadera touches the table of the middle-aged man. Enforcer Lorink. He has diligently served the ship since birth, a participant in countless combat landings, where he was a model of valor and steadfastness. He was known on the lower decks for being tough but fair. His last act of heroism was the rescue of an enforcer patrol and a number of workers on deck 515E2. Lorink is paced his own body over a crack grenade thrown from the crowd by a mutineer. Next is the old man. Preacher Silophanes, originally assigned to serve in the ship's reliquary. He rejected the luxury of the chapel in favor of an eternal pilgrimage on the decks, where no servant of the ecclesiarchy had hardly ever set foot. Through his example and word, he encouraged and instructed the outcast and the forgotten. Thousands of souls who had otherwise lost their faith, and fallen into heresy, came to know the word of the emperor. But it only took one to end Cleophane's preaching for good. A madman attacked him during a sermon, managed to rip out the preacher's vocal implant before the crowd tore him apart. Finally, Egan touches the void-born youth. Mikosh, a ventilation shaft crawler from sorting hub 10. He dutifully burned soul slime and vermin and would be the first to climb into blocked ducts, risking his life to deliver recycled air to the sector. He was a true believer and never limited his lot. On his final foray, he saved hundreds of workers by using his body to plug a hole in a combustible gas pipe. The toxicity led to cardiac arrest and blood poisoning. I'm ready to make a decision. Egan raises Macadendrite anticipation. Who will form the basis of the triosomata? The priest. Egan contemplates the half-dead man lying stretched out on the galvanized surface. The choice has been made, but will you deign to answer my question? Why him? I must know your thought process. In the darkest hour, the people find strength in faith. He is righteous not because of what he preached, but because of whom he did it for. Egan closes his organic eye deep in thought. Finally, his face breaks into a smile. Thank you, Nero. This is it, the solution to our dilemma. I will begin the triosomata procedure. May organic flesh and sacred machinery be one. With a barely audible crunch, Egan's injector Macadendrite pierces the brain tissue. The man's face contorts in anguish and his back arches in a fit of spasms. His brows furrowing, the janitor delivers a powerful pulse with emotive force, and the unfortunate man drops limply back down on the table. The tech priest manipulators dart between the three bodies, separating organs, augmetics, and limbs, and transported them to a new host. Discharges of energy coruscate around Egan's hulking figure, growing brighter and brighter until the final flash leaves you temporarily blinded. When your vision returns, you see the manipulators carefully releasing the subject's limbs from their restraints. The process is complete. The creature which second ago resembled a humanoid lump of bloody meat started with metal, suddenly leaps up with unexpected vigor, tossing Egan backward and letting out an unintelligible howl of suffering. Before anyone can react, the amalgam man barrels towards the entrance of the Sector Bionica, filling the deserted halls with his plaintive moans. Egan stares after him in amazement. Impossible! The calculations were perfectly calibrated, all factors taken into consideration. Was the specimen defective? I must find the triosomata immediately and determine what went wrong. Your combi crackles to life, carrying the Voxmaster's anxious voice. Lord Captain, an urgent message from Mistress Sarbak. A strange creature resembling a malfunctioning servant is heading towards the lower decks. Shouting please and make reference to you and Janitor Ferberus. Enforcers have been dispatched to intercept it, but they assume that you would prefer to assess the situation personally. Thank you, Victus. Janitor Ferberus and I will head out immediately. One way or another, we must see the experiment through to the end.
one step at a time amidst the madness.
The Triceratops lies prostrate before the entrance to the bay. The faint Aquila on the door only witness to his incoherent babbling. His hysterical wails, the righteous triune man, are interrupted from time to time by the clanging of his augmented skull against the deck. A vicious mixture of blood and oil oozes from the staples on his forehead, and his fingernails are chipped from his attempt to dig the implants out of his body. A quavering, decrepit voice wheezes a desperate plea. Prayer is not words, prayer is the deeds of the righteous. My sandals are worn to shreds, but I still walk. A spasm racks his body, and his already muddled speech turns into a frightening cacophony that barely sounds like language. Suddenly, the Triceratops pounds his head on the deck again and spews forth another medley of ragged sentences. I lead them, but I am lost. God Emperor, I pray, answer, answer, answer. The spasm repeats. Ergen clucks his tongue in displeasure, worrying at a piston on his beard as he thinks. The subject left the sector Bionica prematurely. Nuncius is right. I was so absorbed in the triosomia procedure and a successful outcome that I made the mistake of unfastening the restraints before psychological evaluation could be conducted. Rogue Trader, you must stabilize the Triceratops before the specimen is lost to us forever. Greetings, I am Nero. I just want to talk. The mumbling and head-thumping stop. The man shifts his clouded gaze to you and you see recognition in his eyes. God, Emperor, take pity on me. To the foot of your golden throne, my sandals are worn to shreds, but I still walk. I am lost, so lost. The man squeezes his hand in the sign of the Aquila. He presses them into his chest so hard that you hear the crunch of his organic hand against the augmetic. Yeah, fuck it. You are not lost. On the contrary, you have set foot on a new path. You're ready to die, but the God Emperor said you must live. So live and lead the faithful. The man's face twists into a semblance of zealous frenzy. Prayer, not words, prayer. Deeds of the righteous. God Emperor, I failed to see your plan, so I wailed. Now behold, my sandals are worn to shreds, but I still walk. The Triceratops stops. The poor man's shoulders slowly slump, and the convulsions suddenly subside. His lucidity does not last long. The amalgam's eyes soon go blank, and his mouth stretches into a blissful smile. Rocking peacefully and drooling, he murmurs broken snippets from his former life and prayers to the Emperor. Absurd! Unacceptable! Ergen scans the Triceratops furiously pounding the keys of the microcogitator mounted on his torso. You have succeeded in pacifying, but Triceratops is rejecting the attempts of the implant machine spirits to contain the cognitive entropy. Total personality degradable is inevitable. I must reassemble him. That is enough, Ergen. Lead this blissful fool to be let. Lead this blissful fool be, and let the Medicae of the Sector Bionica tend to him until the end. The Triceratops obediently allows himself to be led away. The man keeps his eyes fixed on the Aquila, murmuring prayers until he is lost to your sight. That place looks gloomier than a cloud. Rogue Trader, I am experiencing a cognitive block. I have analyzed every possible failure hypothesis and double-checked every step I made, and I have failed to identify a single mistake. The organic parts and the Ferrum Sanctum joined together perfectly, the brain was perfectly preserved. These complications should never have occurred. Yet the outcome cannot be denied. My calculations are perfectly correct, and this is an incontrovertible fact. There was a flaw in the conditions or in the subject themselves. People are not machines. You try to break people down into mechanical components. The original hypothesis was flawed. The manipulus's galvanic cell crackles nervously. My hypothesis is flawed, but how? It's inconceivable. Well, have I strayed and committed heresy by believing that I comprehended the nature of the machine god? By thinking that we are simpler creatures than him? Rogue Trader, I thank you for your contribution to our research. Nuncius and I can now call you colleague in all earnestness. I need to think, rethink, and discuss this new data with Nuncius. Please, find me on the bridge later. We must discuss the results of the experiment. Oh, Aegon. You silly man.
Patience? My nerves are frayed.
Oops, wrong way.
Rogue Trader, your timing is impeccable. I am ready to discuss the fascinating experiment we have been conducting in the Sector Bionica and on other decks.
You want to discuss the results of the so-called Triosomata experiment?
Indeed. After processing all the data, including your invaluable contribution to the outcome of the experiment, my dear colleague and I engaged in a lengthy debate. My cognitive block has been resolved at last. I have come to the conclusion that the only correct decision in the context of this experiment was not to conduct it in the first place. My methods were correct and my intentions good, but I clung to my hypothesis to the last, in blind defiance of Nuncius's arguments and objective reality. I was attempting to wring usefulness out of people like charge from a dying battery. But regardless of how well and long a battery served before, when it is finally depleted, isn't the more rational response to dispose of it and replace it with a new one? Righteousness is a trait of these people, but it is not their primary function. I see that now.
You have learned something valuable, which means this experiment was not in vain.
Precisely. A man chooses what he is made of. Regrets for his past mistakes, or the experience he gained from them. Only those who choose the latter course can attain true wisdom. I wish to thank you. You helped me cope with a situation that was beyond my control, and to recognize my mistakes. And that is worth a great deal. I was considering using this implant in an experiment, but I thought it too valuable to waste on the laity. Please, accept it as a gift.
Isn't Nuncius jealous of your new cyber companion, your new cyber companion?
A preposterous notion. My cybernetic companion is merely an auxiliary tool. It is far less sophisticated than Nuncius, and lacks his outstanding communication skills and sharp intellect.
Truly, you detect not a whit of jealousy from the Silver Skull's gaze. Let's take my leave.
I find our conversation stimulating.
Alright, before we continue, I'm going to go have a cigarette. I shall be right back. Actually, wait a second. Oh, you don't have the Eldari thing, do you? Neither do I. Oh, but... Can't miss. Alright, like I said, I'm gonna go for a smoke. Be right back. All right, welcome back. Oh, Lord Captain, I bring dire news. A feud has broken up between clans that maintain the Void Shield arrays. Rumor has it that Lady Theodora was seen on the lower decks, and so one of the families called for a rebellion against the usurper of the Void Ship. That is, you. So far, no one believes they are mad tales, but unrest has begun on the fringes of the compartments. Ships and forces are now ready to eliminate the instigating clan or pacify the entire Void Shield crew. Decision is yours. Find the source of the rumors and punish those responsible. I don't want any unnecessary deaths. Lord Captain, as Seneschal Bessarion would say, there are no innocents in such cases. Clans were engaged in the entire void ship, tussling over a strange and obviously false rumor. If you so desire, I will convey your wishes to the enforcers later, but right now the unrest must be stopped and the people returned to their direct duties or replaced. Yeah, fuck it. I'll see to it, Lord Captain. I hope you have a void battle here just so I can see how the fighter thing works. Ah! Perfection. A report shows up on your personal causery screen. Unknown ships are towing the interstellar sextant, a cargo ship belonging to one of Footfall's wealthiest traders. Looks like the pirates have bitten off more they can chew and have now been forced to drag the ship into a more secluded place where they can plunder it undisturbed. Attack the pirates! As soon as they see you, the escort ships are charged into battle at once while the captive sextant powers up his warp engines. Unless you interrupt the preparation for the jump, the cargo ship will forever vanish beyond the veil of the IMPERIUM, along with the riches it's carrying. Send all available forces to intercept the interstellar sextant. Do not let it get away. Okay. Want to get a chance to test out and see if the fighter thing works, or how it works exactly. How do I do the... Good. How do you launch your fighters? Oh, it's a lot of range. Damn it. What a waste. Wait a second. Let's say I take that off. Can only be used with torpedo tubes mounted on the prow. Yeah, they are mounted on the prow. So only that. Oh, you can't have the Void Thunder Lance battery. That's why. Oh. Well, that's a waste. That's a complete waste. Oh, what the fuck. Okay, let's see if I remove this. So buy another torpedo set. Okay, we're just testing all of this, so I'm very confused by this. Hold on. I'm very confused. Or maybe not. I guess I have to see the next combat, next void combat. Ah, this place.
Crimson is a good color for battle attire. Enemies will perceive no weakness, not even if you are bleeding.
No, give me a second, guys. 1 second.
Allow me to function effectively, even in the event of extensive blood loss. This is what should concern those who dare to stand against the servant of the Omnissiah in battle.
1 second, guys. Okay, we're back.
Another notch.
The darkness swirls beneath your feet, a void of impenetrable gloom. You do not hear a single sound from the depths of the pit. No wailing wind, no rustle of dust. Same with the pit. A bright daylight cannot pierce the darkness lying over the slopes. The longer you look into its depths, the stronger the feeling grows that this darkness isn't just an absence of light. It's something immeasurably vast, endless, capable of reaching the farthest stars or swallowing a galaxy. Through sheer force of will, you avert your gaze. You know, stretch your head to the darkness? At the edge of your consciousness, you sense something slimy, intangible, answering your invitation for contact. It seeps into your thoughts, chasing your emotions. Surprise and curiosity envelop you. These feelings are not your own. Dominate? Damn. You are hit by a sudden wave of all-consuming silence. A moment later, the world around you disappears, leaving only black, viscous, boundless darkness. The absoluteness of it is overwhelming, and you slowly sink into the void that is sucking you in. What do you want from me? You find yourself on the floor of an abandoned estate. You feel someone's disgusting presence behind you. A raspy, foul breath tickles your nostrils. A drop of water trickles down from the stone ceiling and shatters the silence with a deafening splash. The heavy door before you is open. You try to escape. It is now or never. Fight the creature. You turn around, intent on killing the thing with your bare hands, but then exclaim in hesitation. You recognize the disfigured monster that is staring at you balefully from the darkness. Let a heavy sigh, and a cloud of hot, fetid vapor settles on the smooth surface of the mirror. You sit at the apex of a massive onyx pyramid. Your abilities are limitless. With a single thought, you can raise mountains, drain an ocean, or disperse the clouds. But nobody cares anymore. Soon, your brothers and sisters will sacrifice you so they can share your power among themselves and guide civilization to prosperity. See the ceremony. Oops. Solemnly, you are placed on a coal black slab covered in glowing script. At the last moment, your love for your people fails you. You thrash on the hands of your brethren as one of them, with an expression of incredible pain, rips your heart out, one after another. You are lying on burning sand, struggling to open your eyes, but your eyelids feel too heavy. You can barely move your arms and legs. Your stomach hurts. Your throat is bone dry. Several of your kin, all emaciated, are scattered around you. The hunger is so strong that it's driving you mad. You let out a bestial howl. Something metallic clinks next to your hand. A knife. This is it. You must survive. You can survive. You must survive. All you need to do is to decide whom to sacrifice. But a piece of yourself. What the fuck? The infant crying piteously for its mother. Who did I kill? Cassia? Nope. We're not doing that. Ooh, no, 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 no. I'll be curious.
There will be no peace in my wake.
Alright, give me a quick second, guys. Try this again. Let's try this one more time. Quick save already. Okay. That succeeded.
Curiosity sings in my veins.
Something happened to me? I don't think so. No one got sacrificed though. Which is good. Actually, I'm curious what happens here. What is supposed to happen here? Oh, give me a second, guys. Okay. Apparently there are a bunch of other things that could happen here potentially. Okay, well, get the fuck out of here. Lord Captain, we have an emergency. We have received word that there has been a sighting on the lower decks. Voxmaster voice breaks. A sighting of Lady Theodora. The messages we have received are incomplete and vague, a little more than yelling and hysterical claims. There are reports of casualties and unrest. The compartment in question has already been sealed off, but I thought you might want to look into what's going on for yourself. The situation is delicate, and what is especially disturbing, there are mentions of Vidira class being present at the screen. We'll deal with it personally. I need the exact location. Right away, Lord Captain. God damn it, Idira, you stupid bitch.
Applaud my brilliance.
And now, who dares to grace us with their presence? Another gaggle of heretics and traitors thirsty to get their due from what they've done? Or is it the leader himself who has grown tired of hiding behind others? Ooh. Theodora von Valencius is before you, and she looks grotesque. A hole yawns wide in her chest, rusted hooks protrude from beneath the skin, and a lumen, inflamed scar cuts across her throat. The figure flickers as though it's dropping in and out of its reality. She looks at you with the whitish eyes of a corpse and smiles venomously. Rogue trader, we meet at last. I had grown tired of waiting for you to pay me a visit. Theodora's look is appraising and her mocking tone turns to one of distaste. Indeed, centuries of selfless toil and effort, everything I left behind has gone to this non-entity. Argenta's eyes spark with fury. Warp illusion, begone! Argenta, my dear, there's no need to make such a fuss. Why don't we sit down over a cup of recaf like we used to? I listen to your rapturous tales of sacred relics, portents, and your special path. You must have been so lonely without me there. No one else would need to listen to your ravings or to help you with your childish treasure hunt. Theodora laughs melodiously, almost without mockery. Abelard's sight of the terrifying Theodora, Abelard's face turns sickly pale. Thrown spare us from the cursed apparitions of the arch-enemy. Is that who you are truly praying for? I can hear how fast your heart is pounding, Viserion. I think deep down you hope the apparition never ends. You are not Domin Theodora. Gibella's eyes blaze with fury. The Undying One does not relinquish the souls that come to him. Such is the absolute truth. You are a thief of names. Foolish child. Your word is limited to the darkness of that lower decks and the words of your vizier. You know nothing of truth or death. You don't even know the first thing about yourself. Theodora's voice is dripping with venomous condescension. We have already met. Of course, boy. For it was I who gave the order to bring you here, on my ship. How I rue that decision now, and how I regret heeding the advice of my seneschal. Abelard whispers hurriedly to you. How could this be? It's not the same vision on the officer's deck, yet entirely different. Why does not remember that meeting? And why does not remember what the real Lady Theodora did? Alas, my glorious voyage through life was ended in the dullest way possible, by death. A nuisance I staved off as long as I could. But do not weep for me, boy. I am still keeping an eye on my property and punishing all those who failed me. Theodora bares her rotten teeth in a snarl, her laughter piercing. You were not Theodora. Theodora is dead. There's no coming back from that. I'm dead? How is that? I'm no different than those who have not yet crossed the divide between reality and eternity. I see, I speak, I remember the wrongs you committed against me. And for all those who failed me, I have begun exacting my retribution. I truly am Theodora, the remnants of herself that she left behind in this world. I am an echo of her memories preserved in the minds of those who care for her. I am the taste of tears spilt for the unsaid and the undone. I am the terror of she who failed to turn the tide of fate, who refuses to look truth in the face. I am as real as the human passions that bring the world to ruin. Where's Yadira? What have you done with her? Me? What have I done with Yadira? Yadira laughs mockingly. All I did was turn that little mutt from the fringes into a true servant of the Imperium. I gave her toys. I cleaned up after her antics. I provided her with everything she could ever dream of. Oh, I had great plans for poor little Yadira. If you have the door, tell me, who really killed you? Oh, wouldn't you like to know the answer to that question? I don't even know which one would be more satisfying, to give you an honest answer, or leave you to languish in ignorance. We'll see how you conduct yourself, little boy. What do you want with me? Why were you waiting for me? Theodora weirdly rolls her eyes. Matters are so dire that pleas of one of my servants breached the death's veil to reach my ears. How could I not ignore such a desperate cry for help? And for my little Yadira, no less. And once I appeared here, of course I had to meet the pretender who allowed this deplorable state of affairs. I'll send you back to the abyss you crawled out of. You? Of all the people to ever threaten me, you are the most pathetic, boy. All that you possess now was given to you in error, and you are unworthy of such a generous gift, and you are incapable of holding on to it. I am here to seek retribution against those who failed me, my brainless crew, my useless officers, my pathetic servants who turned their backs on their mistress in her darkest hour. And worst of all, you, my dear heir, you who have undeservedly claimed the warrant and everything else that is mine. I will drag it all to the warp with me, including you.
They will see. Oh, yes, indeed. They all will see.
Lord Captain? Yadira turns her head to you, but her demented gaze only rests briefly on your face, sliding away. Up close, you can see that the base of Yadira's temple implants is blackened and melted. No, wait, Lord Captain! Lady Von Valancius. Yadira raises her eyes to Theodora, who stands before her. Tears stream down Yadira's face. You came back! Theodora clucks her tongue in sympathy, reaching out to tenderly stroke Yadira's hair. Fair little Yadira. There. How could I not have come? You were crying for me so desperately, your pleas carried to the very depths of the warp itself. A smile slowly drops from a mutilated face. Why didn't you save me? Why didn't you warn me? Answer me, you insignificant wretch, or I'll drag the answers out of you myself. Theodora's fingers dig into Yadira's scalp, meeting no resistance. Yadira lets out a soul-chilling howl and tries to grab the hand tearing into her, but her fingers pass through the monster's flesh. I didn't hear anything. How could I have had anything to do with you? I'm sorry, Lord Captain, I failed. Ah! Yadira breaks into a strangled scream, and you feel the air around you grow rapidly colder. Argenta wordlessly swings her weapon up and aims at Yadira, who is struggling in the monster's hold. Sister Battle looks at her without an ounce of mercy. Argenta, stop! Argenta wriggles her nose at your shouted command and lowers the weapon by a few centimeters, but she does not put it away. Yadira, snap out of it or I'll shoot you myself. Yadira stills for a moment, then pleads in a piteous, almost childlike voice. Lord Captain, help me. Damn it! Yadira shoves the psyker away with a low snarl. The rogue trader's body begins to change, losing its human shape. Chaos will devour you. It will devour everyone responsible for my death. Die of the dead collection of my lord.
Let's see. A genius at work.
I'll do what it takes. Quick, quick!
Wait, where's your second blade? Wait, what? Why did her blade get taken off her? Bruh.
Let the blood of the wicked be shed as thou hast willed. My blade whispers your name. Come, the other side awaits. As the tenants demand.
Why did her second blade get
Trust me.
unequipped? She just stares at you with crazed eyes while clutching the wounds on her head. At first, no sound comes from her moving lips, and really weakly whispers, "Lord Captain, is it you? Really you?" Ajita trains a weapon on her ear and watches you closely. The abomination claims that you called her. Is this true? Me? Did I? Just, Lord Captain, I think it was me who called her. I can barely remember. The voices, my old good whispers, they suddenly turned red, sharp, and started cutting, tearing, ripping me to pieces. I tried to call for help and she came. Now it's why the voice is making me so much noise now. Shut up, shut up! Previous rogue trader has been seen on the ship recently. Was that also your doing? Yes, I did a couple of times when I had too much to drink. That time I thought I heard voices among the whispers in my head, that the voice was so sad, so clear. Couldn't help herself. I answered, I hoped I could reach her. There. Ever since she died, since my first heard her voice in my head, it has gotten louder, clearer, harder to resist. You heard the what whispering in your head and you answered, are you insane? You don't know what it's like? The most important person in your life who's now gone forever suddenly is talking to you inside your head? How can I try to reach her? I had to. She goes silent for a moment. When she begins to speak again, it's a barely audible whisper. I know what you're thinking. During the warp jump, when Lady Theodora came out towards us, I keep thinking about that meeting. I keep blaming myself. Why did I divine it? Why didn't I stop her killer? These thoughts have been playing at the back of my mind day after day, choking me with guilt. And do you know what? The one on the officer's deck, I don't know what that was, but this time here, it was a product of my guilt, an accuser straight out of my own mind. So, what am I supposed to do now? You know, I know after everything I've done, you have no faith in my willpower or my strength. I can fix everything. It's just I'm not at my best, you see. Maybe we can find a way to replace my implants. Or some other remedy, a better one. Lady Von Valencia said that such a thing could be found. If not here, then elsewhere. I would need it before, but we just need to find it. We need to figure out where to look for it, and we'll get it. And until then, I'll keep myself on a tight leash. What'll happen to my crew while we look for this remedy? Zero swallows and straightens. I'll pull myself together, Lord Captain. The death of Lady Von Valencius knocked me for a 6. I'll get myself under control. No more booze, no more obscura, nothing. I'll even stop walking around the lower decks. I'll be stone cold sober. She generally wipes the tears and blood from her face. I want to help you, Dira. We'll think of something. We'll make a mistake, Lord Captain. Perhaps you will find something to slow the decline, but it will not stop it. Only a miracle can save Dira class now. Dira awkwardly shakes out her stained clothing. I think I better, with your permission, Lord Captain. She sways, takes a step back, and faints. Lord Captain, the Voxmaster's shaking voice comes over the comm bead. I received a report that shooting in the lower deck had stopped. I presume you have brought the stewardship under control, awaiting further instructions. I got rid of the warp illusions. Dira's alive. Bring her to the chirurgeons and have them see to her. You hear unconcealed relief in the Voxmaster's voice. Of course, Lord Captain. As you command.
Lord Captain who graces the freight line with visits and speaks to the lowliest of serfs? Retirement has never sounded more tempting.
All it means is that he is more attentive to his subjects than Lady Theodora ever was. It is unfortunate that you should find this surprising rather than heartening.
Patience! My nerves are frayed!
I thought I saw something there. Hold on.
Greetings.
Ah, yes. I'm waiting for you to tell me about your past and explain the strange words of that cultist on Footfall.
Yes, I'm ready. I would ask only one thing of you, Rogue Trader. If I may, I would like to see the chamber of the Sacred Warrant and kneel before the relic touched by the Emperor himself. A difficult conversation lies ahead of us, and I wish to pray by the relic before I lay my soul bare.
Of course, let's go right away. Argenta drops to her knees, her hands making a sign of the Aquila. Her eyes are locked on the sweeping signature of the warrant. A seemingly mundane thing, merely a flourish on a piece of paper, unless one knows whose hand left that mark and whose blood is on that paper. If thou seest flaw in me, smite me. If thou knowest a fall of mine, burn me with flames of fury and righteousness. But if thou seest light in me, grace me. If thou hearest the plea of mine, bless me with wrath of fury of righteousness. Argenta's voice is sonorous, as if made for singing hymns and prayers. Right now she cannot seem to catch her breath, so overwhelmed with emotion is she. For I breathe by the will of thine. For I live by the law of thine. I carry thy word, O Emperor. I bring solace to servants of thine, and ruin to foes of thine, a fate of terror and righteousness. Upon finishing, she closes her eyes and remains silent for a long time with her head raised high. Slowly, like the first licks of flame in a campfire, a smile blossoms on her lips. When Argenta finally opens her eyes, they are alight with uncanny resolution. Rogue Trader, we need to talk. Or rather, I need to tell you something. The truth. The truth about how I ended up on Theodora von Valencia's ship, and about the cultists we encountered on Footfall. Am I to understand that you lied to me? No! Argenta's cheeks redden with indignation. I am one of the Adeptus Sororitas, a bearer of the Emperor's tenets. I do not lie. She catches her breath. Before, I wasn't ready to speak candidly with you. Please understand, I couldn't trust you before. I'll tell you my story and you'll see why. Argenta pauses. I'll start at the beginning. It is easier to piece everything together that way. Upon arriving in the Expanse and on Footfall, I found no purpose here, only torment. I wasn't needed. The reliquary I had been assigned to safeguard was already well protected by Reverend Hieronymus' mission, and no one was even trying to defile it. For all its lawlessness, Footfall respects the worship of the Emperor. That was when Lady Theodora, head of your dynasty, appeared. She became an agent of the divine will, in a way. Argenta faltered, searching for the words. It was from her that I learned about a planet recently discovered by her scouts, Salus Prime. For a rogue trader, the planet was of little interest, a feral world away from a convenient warp routes. But for me, learning about this, its existence, was a revelation. Please continue. The description of Salus Prime was familiar to me. It seemed very similar to a world from an ancient legend, the legend of Saint Argenta and her ship. Her voice was reverent. Argenta, the living saint. She is my patroness. The order named me after her. She died millennia ago when heretics caused her ship to fall from the skies. But even those blasphemers could not touch Argenta's ashes or her holy relic, the one star. For the fallen ship, which is now served as a resting place for the saints' remains, would only allow the righteous to enter. All others would meet their death. Imagine what I felt when this flash of insight came upon me. The world where Agent Saint Argenta's ship fell was merely a vague legend. No one knew its actual whereabouts. And suddenly, I find myself named after the saint. Come across this information. I realized at that moment that it was important, that I must journey to this planet and find the ship. I also asked Reverend Hieronymus to let me go for a time on a personal pilgrimage. I boarded Theodora's ship and demanded passage to a newly discovered planet, Salus Prime. Why did you keep your supposition from Reverend Hieronymus? Surely he would have helped you with the search for the ship and the saints' remains? I couldn't just come out and tell him. It was important revealed to me personally, can't you see? I told Reverend Hieronymus the honest truth that I was going on a personal pilgrimage to embolden my spirit. It really was a pilgrimage. It was as if Saint Argenta herself had shown me the way, commanding me to undertake this trial. If I had found the ship and set foot on its decks, if I had laid my hands on the remains and the relic, it would have been a sign that I was truly blessed with the saint's favor. It's understandable. Searching for your destiny, for your place in the world is a special matter, a personal one. You either succeed at it or you don't. Argenta looks at you somewhat surprised. I thought I had been called. That finding the ship was my destiny, my place in the world. Perhaps there's something more to it than that. What happened next? Defeat, Argenta says bitterly. The ship's augurs failed to detect anything of note during orbital scanning. I was expecting this, though. According to the legend, the ship could conceal itself from the naked eye, and only a pilgrim guided by a pure heart can find it. What I didn't expect was an ambush waiting for us on the planet. I landed there with a small unit provided by Theodora. I know Saint Agenta's hagiography by heart. I know all the legends about her. I follow their obscure clues, descriptions of mountains and rivers from millennia-old tales. I was certain that I had found a way to the ship, and that is when we were attacked. The words we heard at the heretic shrine on footfall, something about ways, doors, please, addressed to some lord at the edge of daybreak. Agenda shaking with disgust. They were the same words as spoken by the cultists who attacked us at Salus Prime. My whole unit perished. All those honest, brave people I had led to search for the relic, it was only a miracle that I didn't perish along with them. I didn't connect the events at first. The cultists on footfall, the cultists on Salus Prime, the cultists attacking the ship and Kunra's betrayal. What if it's all links to the same chain? What if they've long since infiltrated the ranks of the Von Valancia's servants? What if I led those heretics to the sacred planet with my search? And that was why you didn't trust me before, correct? Yes, Rogue Trader. Ajahn looks you in the eye. I saw with my own eyes how a member of your family showed his true colors as a servant of the archenemy. I had already suffered a humiliating defeat at the hands of cultists and was afraid of another betrayal. I couldn't be forthright with you, and so I studied you, looked for seeds of corruption, or the light of righteousness. And what did you find? A man who stood shoulder to shoulder with me and helped me eradicate the cultists on footfall. Magenta smiles as if reminiscing about a pleasant evening spent in the company of friends rather than a bloody battle. Although my opinion of you started to change even before then, back when you agreed to talk to the orphans at my request. A leader who's willing to honor those who lay down their lives for them and take care of their children is a leader who inspires trust. And the way you acted in that moment, do you remember the young man whose grief and confusion had driven him to insolence? You didn't turn a blind eye to his misdeed, but you chose the right words to show him the path of redemption. It was harsh but necessary. Like the Emperor's truth, like bitter medicine, helps with the sick. I learned much about you at the moment, Rogue Trader. I want to believe that I was mistaken in my judgment. So, just to clarify, you were wounded. You never found Saint Agenta's ship, is that correct? Yes. I rushed to Theodora the moment I could walk again, and I insisted on going back to Salus Prime to defend the relic from the heretics. But I was told that the warp had destroyed the old route to the planet, and plotting a new one would take a great deal of time and effort. As if there could be anything more important than protecting the faith and hunting down servants of the archenemy. In any event, the route was lost, and all knowledge of it died in the attack of the ship along with the old navigator. But now we have a new lead. Data will be collected in the culture shrine of footfall. I don't care what the reprobate executed said, there must be a way to track them down. Come here, Rogue Trader. Will you help me in the undertaking? Will you help me find the great relic and return it to the people of the Imperium? There's nothing I wouldn't do to reclaim a sacred object to the people of the Imperium. Agenda walks up and places her hand on your shoulder. So be it, Rogue Trader. As I stand here before the warrant, the embodiment of the Emperor's will, marked by his own hand, I vow that I will not relent until the holy relic has been returned and the heretics punished. And may the light be with us both on this path. Lord Captain, according to telemetry, the parameters of the system match those of Telecos Epsilon, home to the Agriworld of Janus that belongs to the Von Valancia's dynasty. We have received a Vox message from the planet. The Agriworld governor welcomes the Rogue Trader and reports that she has begun preparation for a formal reception to celebrate the arrival of the planet's sovereign. The subjects are looking forward to your visit. Oh, we need to get more extractiums. Okay, we'll come back to there. Alright, before we continue, I'll go have a cigarette. Should be right back. Okay, we're back. Oh. Sorry, I'm just eating something. Let me finish swallowing properly. Ah. A lavishly dressed noblewoman in an opulent silk gown watches you with expectant air, but then gracefully bows her head. Gem-encrusted implants protrude from her arms and her neck. I welcome you on behalf of the noble house Wyatt Ab Aram. My name is Vistenza Janice Wyatt Ab Aram of Coronis. By the grace of the Emperor and the will of the rogue trader Theodora von Valencius, I serve as planetary governor and imperial commander-in-chief of this world. Vistenza raises her head slightly. Vistenza Wyatt turns to Abelard. And greetings to you, noble Viserion. It has been years since you last visited Janus. I am glad to see you again. It is a good sign when a rogue trader seneschal does not visit a subject planet for a long time. Isn't that correct, Lady Wyatt? It means the governor is taking care of all matters. There is no need for the seneschal to interfere. It doesn't last a musical laugh. I hear praise in those words and I thank you for them. In truth, your arrival in the palace of the esteemed Lady von Valencius is quite unexpected. I hope my coming in Theodora's stead has not disappointed you too much. Not in the least, your lordship. On the contrary, I'm delighted to have led after all these years to once again welcome to my world.
For Janus!
Well, it's Janus, not Janus, it's Janus. Okay, we gotta start battle as is.
As the tactical imperative dictates. Running binary override.
Schemes.
I can't stand it. Emperor, protect me.
I am a navigator, not a servitor.
I am your blade and shield.
I've seen worse battles than this in my time. At your beck and call.
Let's make it quick. Out my way. Let's get to it. The scriptural prognosis is favorable.
A wicked thought. What if?
Let not the righteous fear. May their blades be sharp.
Wait, what the hell? Why did it stop? Your Lordship, Emperor preserve, are you all right? Do not fret, layperson. We have grown used to outrageous slovenliness among the wardens of every world we visit. Pascal's box, quite at first, is booming with fury at the end of his remark. Pale greenness is strangling this peasant like a noose. His words are laden with fear for our well-being, yet he fears for his own even more. He also drops dead before the shocked eyes of witnesses look up at you in horror. Get out of my sight. I'll find my own way there. Why did I get unequipped? I have no idea. That was weird. The chat disconnected and reconnected.
At a time, amidst the madness. What is that?
Incredible.
Upon seeing the guard at the door, lets out a frightened yelp and doubles over in a low bow. Your Lordship, the most Honorable Nero von Valencius, the governor is waiting for you in her office, where she's protected by walls and guards. Would you prefer to meet with her alone or with your entourage? My entourage will accompany my meeting with the governor. Vistenza Janus Viat Ab Aram of Coronis is furiously swiping at a data slate, issuing commands into a gilded vox. Upon seeing you, she hurriedly puts away her devices, smooths her skirts, and drops into a deep curtsy. Your Lordship, accept my abject apologies for the irreprehensible son that spoiled the reception. Even in my worst nightmares, I could never have imagined. She flinched when noticed Kabal standing at your side. A death cultist. My, how unexpected. Someone must face severe punishment in the Emperor's name. Someone always does. As for who and when, the Undying One will tell. Quell responds with dignity, seemingly oblivious to how sinister her words sound. I don't care about your apologies. I could have been killed. The governor, trembling all over, bows her head even lower. I assure you, your lordship, I would never... I beg you, give me the chance to prove my loyalty and explain myself. Vistenza's companion standing beside her also bends into a slavish bow, while reaching out to offer a reassuring touch to Vistenza's hand, who immediately draws it away. One of your wardens helped us in battle. A superb shot. Who was it? You must be referring to Irlet, our chief ally in the struggle against the rebels. I have turned a blind eye to her horrific mutations, given the undoubted advantages she brings. You see, Irlet comes from a local degenerate stock of this world and knows Janus like the back of her hand, so she has provided several leads as to where we can find bases and secret storehouses. Although, at times I admit I am tempted to send her away from the estate, her unnaturalness means that speaking with her always leaves me feeling uneasy. Such a gaunt, unfeminine figure and so tall. If you wish to speak to Irlet, you will find her outside in the orangery. Most likely by the gazebo. She prefers to keep a distance from the others. What's happening on the planet? Several months ago, uprising broke out on Janus. I was not even notified at first. Griping worms are for the wardens to worry about. Alas, only learned of what was happening after the miscreants began targeting noble families. Vistenza shakes her head. Then it became apparent that what the administratum's accounts had referred to as unrest were in fact organized attacks on infrastructure and society leaders. They've already brought 13 agri-complexes to a halt and have now moved on to assassination attempts. My wardens are doggedly tracking down the rebels, but their leaders are slipping from our grasp yet again. Can Janus fulfill its foodstuff supplies under current conditions? I risk angering you, your lordship, but this is nothing compared to shamelessly deceiving you. Let us consider the situation dispassionately. Even the most talented logistics experts of the administratum are unable to guarantee stable tides when shuttles are wary of landing at the spaceport. And terrified peasants are indulging a dangerous minority within their ranks. Until the usual order of things is restored in Janus, any trade is nigh impossible. Considering what has occurred, your visit is a true blessing. You see, Janus does not have its own fleet. We could organize a planet-wide search if we had ships at your disposal. Ships like yours, your lordship. Perhaps you will even find a way to support your subjects in their hour of need. I'm sure even approximate coordinates would be sufficient to have ground forces and ship's crew working together to hunt down the enemy. Well, I'll track down these elusive fugitives myself. As for you, Vistenza, you will not be permitted to fail again. I am removing you from your post as governor of this planet, and I am placing you under arrest. When I have finished with the rebels, I'll decide what to do with you. Vistenza lets out a ragged gasp as though she's been punched in the stomach. Your lordship, but I have served your dynasty faithfully and honestly. I have worked tirelessly to tame this unruly planet. She stops herself from speaking any further. As you wish.
The sacred exterminatus. I saw it for the first time in all its fiery majesty.
To behold the death of a world was akin to a revelation. I give thanks to the Undying One for the chance to bear witness.
Iliad Lenevis greets you, Elantark.
The bizarre creature before you only vaguely resembles a typical human. Elongated body, slender limbs, pointed features. Every aspect of its appearance is unnatural and alien. The creature turns its head to you. Why do you call me Elantark?
Because that is what you are. Elantark means stranger from the darkness amidst the stars. You descended on flame-winged machines in a dark time when the air of the planet is soaked in blood and pain. Will you be the one to bring peace to the Lilithon?
You're not a mutant.
I have met souls like you before. You travel a path that offers you enlightenment. A rare gift among your limited kind. My soul is nothing kin to yours. Your kind call us Xenos, as if we are all as one. I came here to protect the Lilithon by assisting the governor against her enemies. Will you hear me, or be blinded to sense by your precepts?
I will speak with you, Levanis. But keep your hands where I can see them.
I have banished the shadow of doubt from your thoughts regarding my nature. Now you will answer my question. Why have you sought me out?
So you're the governor's mysterious helper?
I am Elantark. My hand parried the death promised to the ruler of these people, and I aided you in battle against the Lost Ones.
Why are you helping the governor?
This world is in distress. I wish to protect it from unnecessary suffering.
What do you know about the rank-and-file rebels?
Only that they threaten the established order. There is much risk to this world should the ruler die.
Ilith's face is unreadable, but you detect a strange tension in her voice, as though she's choosing her words carefully. Do you know who's behind the uprisings on the planet?
There is a malevolence here that drives your kin down the path of violence.
Your answers are not particularly helpful.
But you are not asking for help, Elantark. You are merely asking questions, the answers to which are either unimportant or wreathed in shadow. Explore this place. Speak to those who know. A simple task for you, and an insurmountable challenge for me. since my very appearance provokes fear and suspicion. When you learn anything, tell me. Perhaps then my answers will be helpful to your search.
If you want, you can join me. None of the locals would dare look askance at you in a rogue trader's presence.
So be it. I will go with you.
But Domin, this is a Xenos. The tenets of the Bloodspun Web warn us about their deceitful and vicious nature. They compel us to destroy them on sight. She is an enemy of the Undying Emperor, and she is driven by dark designs.
My judgments and choices are for me alone, monkey. If uniting with your master will bring peace to the Lilithon, then it is the true path. Do not get in my way if you value your next breath.
Your attempts to intimidate me are as hollow as the lies seeping from your lips. Only the Domin's grace stands between my blade and your throat, Xenos.
I am ready, Elantark. Let us go forth.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, she got me an overseer. Interesting. Do this for now.
What a splendid estate. I have seen pics of our ancient manors in the House Orselio archives. This place is very similar.
It's a pity you were denied the chance to grow up in such surroundings. I can just picture a young lady navigator, relaxing with a book in the garden after her lessons.
The stoop man wearing a cloak of the Adeptus Administratum is reviewing information on data slate. While he is quietly whirring mechanical arms fill a long scroll with writing. But noticing the man stretches his thin lips into a smile and deferentially bows. Light in the eyes of the silver skull hovering over his right shoulder gently pulsate. Your Lordship, what an honor it is to address you in person. Allow me to introduce myself, Antilius Quint, Prefectus of the Officio Agriculture. I will preserve the record of our conversation forever. What record of our conversation? Your Lordship, I painstakingly record every conversation with high-ranking personages. Afterward, I fill out all 7 accompanying forms personally. Atelier rolls up his completed scroll in a practice-sized gesture, stows it away, and pulls out a new one. Your words and judgments are in good hands. Until his mechanical fingers fly over the scroll as he fills another line. And of course, what great fortune it is to see for the very first time in all my years of service an emissary of the Navis Nobilite here on Janus. I humbly welcome the esteemed Cassia Tisifia Evriela, Lady Navigator of House Orselio. Everything from her condescending gaze and confident bearing to a calm but commanding voice marks Cassia as the heiress of a great bloodline. Awestruck, the secretary writes down each letter of her name with particular fastidiousness. Laudable foresight. I thank you. Moments such as the appearance of a rogue trader must be preserved for posterity. What do you think of his Tenza Wyatt? Oh, I must confess, the news of her arrest has shaken me to my core. May I speak openly? I admit that I haven't got a bad word to say about Governor Wyatt, and I hope that when you appraise her efforts, your anger will change to mercy. The governor is a superb leader. She possesses an excellent grasp of all matters, never uses it in correct form for any given situation. I do not pry into her personal affairs, but if I may speak plainly, a lady who fills out paperwork with such finesse cannot be a bad person in my view. What do you have to say about the governor's helper, Irlet? Antilius looks askance at Irle and offers a straight smile. A highly exceptional individual. After today's regretful event, I am beginning to hold her talents in particular esteem. Verily, even mutants who have seen the light of the God Emperor can faithfully serve his flock. Moreover, Irle's particular abilities could be an interesting subject of study for the Magus Biologus. The elongated head, shape of those eyes, judging by the skull that was given to me to send to footfall, such development anomalies on Janus are not a quirk of nature, but some kind of inheritable trait. Irle freezes completely, turning into a living statue. What did you say? Oh, madam, have my words upset you? I'm certain your kinsman would be delighted to learn that people wish to make pretty press papier out of his remains. Besides, I could be wrong about the nature of his origins. What skull are you talking about? A most remarkable item. I must say, a true anomaly. One moment. After rummaging in a nearby container, Atelius draws out a parcel which he immediately unwraps. Here it is. I believe the finished piece was intended to be given as a gift to the governor. But under the current circumstances, I doubt I'll be able to send it to footfall anytime soon. Irlet stares at the skull in silence. You can see her jaw working under her delicate skin. After a few moments, she abruptly turns away. Repulsive barbarism. My deepest apologies, your lordship. I don't mean to offend you. What do you know about the attack on the estate? A graceful incident, simply disgraceful. I cannot believe these scoundrels would dare come so close and to drag the nobility into this as well. If they penetrated the estate, that means they had help from some worthless servant or the other. Security is currently questioning the survivors, but the culprit has not been found. Yet. Attilius Quinn smiles unpleasantly. What are your duties here? The grace of the God Emperor, I oversee the administrative apparatus of the planet and serve as secretary. I am also responsible for the logistics related to supplying the planets for the Von Valencia dynasty and the timely payment of tithes to the Imperium's official collectors. Speaking of the Von Valencia dynasty, when were the last shipments sent? Oh, your lordship. The supply shipments are all in order. All foodstuffs and other items are ready for export and are simply awaiting the arrival of transport ships. However, given the current circumstances of the planet, Janus could not provide even one tranche more than what is already prepared. I'm certain the situation will be rectified in the near future. When did the collector ships last come to Janus? Oh, your lordship, I must confess that as yet I have not had the pleasure of filling out a sacred tithe protocol form, as the last imperial ships to come here did so under my predecessor. Come to think of it, that would have been several decades ago. I do hope the logisticians responsible for such an unforgivable oversight lose their heads over this. It's enough. As you wish, your lordship. Tell me about Janus. What is happening on the planet? Alas, your lordship, rebellions have caused us many problems in recent times. Rebels are interfering with established processes, interrupting supplies, sabotaging serfs' work. A few nobles have even been killed, and worst of all, some of the victims occupied important administrative posts. Until their replacements pass their checks, complete all their induction forms, and go through the official appointment procedure, important paperwork is going unsigned. It's a bureaucratic catastrophe. If things were to continue in this vein, I dare not even imagine what it could lead to. There are worlds that are ravaged by war for generations. Generations, your lordship. Like that deranged planet by the nameless star. So close to our peaceful system, the inhabitants there were supposed to live under the siege, under the patronage of rogue trader Winterscale. I shudder to think what he has created there. I want to know details. Where are the rebels stuck and how? Of course. I will be delighted to furnish you with all the information I have. In the last few months, 15 organized attacks and 7 terrorist attacks have been perpetrated. Irrigation equipment has been sabotaged in agrarian sectors 3 to 5. Transport routes between 2-7 and 4-13, and also, I suppose this will not tell you much. Please. With a fussy gesture, he presses several buttons on a dataset screen, and a 3-dimensional map with the coordinates of the attacks appears on your cogitator. The data is superbly collated. The map clearly displays the actions of the rebels. At first glance, there seems to be no logic to their campaign. But after analyzing the data and features of the terrain, you will clearly notice an indicating a geographical pattern to their attacks. Who is directing the rebels? Does anyone know? The rebels are well armed and well trained. What's more, the governor's advisors are inclined to think that the instigators of the rebellions are very familiar with the planet's terrain and climate. My ordinates are going through registration records day and night looking for individuals who have completed military training. But so far, we were unable to identify the scoundrel. And what are you doing to combat the rebels? The security services are tracking those who support the rebels, and our regular wardens are wiping out these saboteurs without the slightest mercy. But they keep on appearing. The scribes have been run off their feet keeping records of all the public hearings and executions. I am confident that the governor will find a solution soon. It's enough for now. Of course, your lordship. I must take my leave. Look forward to meeting you again, your lordship.
Curiosity sings in my veins.
Judging your footsteps, the elderly servant grabs an injector and stabs it into his arm. The area around the needle immediately starts turning black. You're too late, riot dogs! I am the master of my own fate! When he gets a better look at you, the man drops his injector in astonishment and seems poised to prostrate himself on the floor before you. It's you, your lordship! The God Emperor must have brought you here. I beg you, help the rebels and save Janus! He doubles up, hugging himself, and is racked by coughing that leaves his lips wet with blood. Forgive me, your lordship. If only I known it was you, my eyes deceived me. A little time now, but I swear I'll tell you everything. Cruella picks up a drop of the poison needle with her claw and carefully puts it on her tongue. She makes a reproving sound. A strong toxin. We apply something similar to the lips of our new initiates of the blood-spun web. It kills minor nerves and purges one's sensitivity to pain. For this layman, though, it is a certain violent death. Say whatever you to say and be quick about it. In the name of the Golden Throne, your lordship, show mercy on the humble workers. The salt of Janus, save them. Extensive Viat, The untouchable governor and leader of the nobility is creating something monstrous behind closed doors. She uses the Imperium's interest as a smokescreen and purports to be a scholar, but her actions are poisoning our planet. Did you know the settlements that failed to pay their due tithes on time have been allowed to pay with people instead? They even deliver them in order, sometimes old folks, sometimes children. He lowers his voice to a whisper and leans towards you. I've seen those people. I've seen them being delivered to the estate, and then they're never seen or heard from again. They go into secret rooms, they don't come out again, your lordship. Ever. Peasants who were taken to Urak 5 Serf House of Celia were never seen or heard from again either. They became loyal servants and toiled for the good of the great dynasty. Why should they return to their filthy, squalid abodes? He also lets out a moan. The dark stain on his arms seems to creep through his veins until his arms and neck are latticework of black. The servant's breath quickens and becomes irregular. You can still be saved. No! Don't waste your time on somebody whose all is good as dead already. I'll depart this world happy knowing that I am free from the clutch of that monster sitting on the governor's throne. I see no shadows of deceit behind your words, and even so, I would have noticed. I know I would have noticed the signs which you Idlet's face tenses like a taut string and doubt creeps into her expression. Except whenever Vistenza hosts one of her dances at the palace, she sends me away to search for rebels into the forests far from human settlements. You accuse the rogue trader's appointed governor of heresy? If your words are false, they themselves are tantamount to heresy. But if what you say is true, if it's true, then your sacrifice will be a credit to my good man. Jeddah utters these last words with impassioned conviction. I swear I'm not lying. Pray for me, holy sister. For me and for Janus. The Chauvin shakes and coughs violently. I'm not sure I'll last long enough to answer all your questions. What secret rooms? Hidden chambers, deep within the palace. I've never been inside, thankfully. The servants who are allowed in, the ones the governor trusts, they change. She changes them, pities them up, defiles them. The old man starts to convulse, indicating that he is close to death. He raises already unseeing eyes to you. Your lordship, if you permit a dying man to make one request, don't tell anyone that it was I who unlocked the doors. If you do, they'll go after my family, my home. I will keep your secret. Please save us. Save Janus. The servant raps violently and collapses on his side, racked with convulsions.
They will see. Oh, yes. They all will see.
Draped in a red cloak, the Magos' body barely looks human. Wires, tubes, and metal manipulators turn him into a whimsical machine, while implants hide his face behind a sinister mask. The tech which intermittently dictates something in Tekwa lingua to the silver skull floating next to him. But at your approach, he falls silent and offers a reserved bow. Greetings, your lordship. Lex Mechanic Vinzilex, how may I serve you? What do you do here on Janus? Janus. The priest's mechanical voice becomes from a speaker on its neck. By order of the Adeptus Mechanicus, I have been entrusted with the management of the Adeptus Ministratum in order to catalog ergonomic data and analyze information about the planet during processes of subjugating it to the will of the Imperium. Tell me about Janus. Initializing report. The planet's soil possesses a unique composition suitable for the re-engineering of the planet and mass production of foodstuffs. Significant cultivation of the Eastern Hemisphere with an aim of improving production processes and logistics operations. Traces of xenoactivity do not pose an immediate threat to the ongoing operations. Undesirable pathologies of flora and fauna have been noted, which may pose a threat in the short term. What pathologies of the flora and fauna? Genetic and chemical pathologies, your lordship. Harmless specimens mutate and become aggressive, while plants change their chemical composition to become poisonous. That is happening more and more often, and if no action is taken, the ecosystem of the world will be irreparably disrupted. It is the Lelethan's wrath that is becoming a manifest in nature itself, in the workings of the world. In the gods preserve us, how did we not notice it sooner? Will I glance at you before immediately looking away? And how is the governor dealing with undesirable pathologies? I have analyzed the genome of the affected species, and I am currently developing a suppressor genes to make the planet's organisms resistant to pathology. But so far, I have not been able to solve the problem. Further exploration of the planet would perhaps speed up the processes, but the administrative Administrative apparatus has imposed a ban on expeditions that are not directly aimed at improving production. Traces of xeno activity? According to data obtained during the initial survey, ruined structures of non-human origin were noted in different sectors on the planet, but I did not have the administrative capacity to study them in more detail. For now, I must defer the quest of knowledge. Let's talk about something else. I am listening. How many servants of the Aptus Mechanicus are there on the planet? According to the data stored in my cogitator, all infrastructure nodes for food harvesting and processing have their own contingent of technomats. The total number amounts to 20350. Correction, based on latest data, the figure is 211 units. And how are things with you and your fellows? The current situation on the planet is assessed as stable. The progress of the prospect is assessed as encouraging. We will speak later. As you wish.
In this tapestry of a world, I am the rogue thread.
I found this on the body of a dead rebel. Can you tell me anything about these specimens? Lectre studies the dried berries and goes still. You hear the distant clicks in the cerebral cogitators process the information. Creeping creeweed, a typical plant of the Western Hemisphere. We have studied the possibility of industrial cultivation, but the process was found to be inefficient due to the specific requirements of the soil, which is found in the right composition only in the archipelagos of the planet. Hulking man dressed in uniform, marking him out as an officer of the gubernatorial warden, is closely monitoring his subordinates as they surround the building. Sensing your approach, he whips around, his face going pale as he offers a low bow. Your lordship, please don't stray too close to the building. One of the terrorists from today's attack has holed himself in there. He could be dangerous. What's going on here? Ready to report, your lordship. We conducted a sweep of the area after the attack. All of the assassins were arrested or neutralized except for one. The officer scowls darkly. He sealed himself inside. He already injured 2 wardens trying to reach him. There's no need to worry. We'll poison him and clear the last dregs of dirt from this estate. I have only one question, officer. Why have you not already done it? The rogue trader is here, and the longer you delay, the more you put his life needlessly at risk. Officer flinches slightly at Abelard's snarl. It is inexcusable, your lordship. The barrels of poison were only just delivered, but we're ready to begin now. I want to talk to the person inside. Are you sure? That is safe, your lordship. You dare question me? Out of my way! Forgive me, your lordship. Act as you see fit. When you approach the solid-looking door, a high, boyish voice shouts out, "Piss off! You won't take me alive! Better put a bullet in my brain than to let the governor's dogs get their hands on me." I am Nero, rogue trader and sovereign of this planet. In the name of the Emperor, open this door. Long time nothing happens, then the door opens with a quick click. In a small space, the corner is filled with inky black shadows, but you can still make out the person in the room. He is desperately gripping a discharged las gun in his hands. Rabbi looks at you in amazement. It really is you. The young man, practically a boy, falls to his knees and stretches out his bloody hands towards you. His clothes are burned on one side with grimy, baked-in blood. Your lordship, have mercy. You are the sovereign of this planet. Only you have the power to save us. Youth is a type of recklessness. I had heard that said more than once in the School of Progenium during my novitiate, but youth is also a type of directness. We'll listen to this young man before we judge him. Save you from what? From Governor Viat. Everybody here knows she's doing to us. We put up with it for a long time, hoping that somebody would intervene and help us, but nobody ever did. She's turned the whole world into a slaughterhouse. People are rounded up like rocks from the settlements, supposedly to go to the palace, and they're never seen again. The servants pour something over the fields, and then people lose their minds. Start hearing voices and seeing evil spirits, and while we're dying, she's sitting behind her white walls and feasting on our bones. Till its face twists. Sacrifices, madness, pain, and death. Even in so primitive a society as this, such rites seem senseless, not worthy of such efforts. What is this, a random quirk of nature or something darker? I always thought that peasants have a tendency to exaggerate their suffering due to sloth and weakness of spirit. But this young man, vermilion thorns pierce every centimeter of his body, and great shackles bind his hands, feet, and neck. There are no lies in his words, only terror and desperation without end. You're telling me people are seeing evil spirits? Yes, others are going feral and attacking their loved ones. Then there's... The boy lowers his voice. People say that in some settlements, well, they stop upholding the law altogether. Imperial law and the law of basic human decency. People are turning into animals. Who's behind the rebels? He swallows nervously and looks at you with fear. Your Lordship, I beg you, don't ask me that. I can't sell out my brethren, it's over for me, but the others, I won't betray them. There will be no end to the war on this planet until I get a handle on the situation, but to do that I need to meet with your leader. The boy hesitates for a few seconds and his head drops limply. As long as you keep your word. I've never been in that camp, none of us have. Only the chief saw one person from their base. He came a few times bringing weapons and orders. He said it represented a greater force than we could imagine. And he said the governor's dogs will pay for their reprisals in the settlements. But that's not where they're hidden. They keep their distance from ordinary folk. We have it all worked out so that if anyone gets caught, the others aren't caught with them. But that's why if the chief's Vox. I thought, after I kill the governor, I could use it to message the coordinates to find their base and hide out here. The boy retrieves the Vox from his pocket and holds it out to you with a shaking hand. That's everything I know, your lordship. Get up and come with me. I give you my word as rogue trader, you will live. The rebel looks at you in bewilderment and then bows low before you. He speaks, his voice trembles. Your lordship, thank you. Thank you for this kindness. I never thought I'd survive this. The officer of the wardens casts a disdainful look over the rebel before turning his gaze to you. Your lordship, I honor your bravery. Please allow me to get rid of that rat for you. Escort this man to safety to the perimeter of the estate. He is free to go. A dumbfounded expression appears on the officer's face. With the deepest respect, your lordship. The officer thinks better of his next words and abruptly bows. It will be done.
Patience? My nerves are frayed.
Okay, so we've got the rebel's Vox. What are we supposed to do with that?
What lies beyond? There will be no peace in my wake. They will see. Oh, yes, indeed. They all will see.
Yes, hello, your lordship. The question is, such an expansive, fertile world as 1 feed thousands of void rats? Of course it can. We lose more provisions to gnawing pests every cycle those footfall could eat in their entire lives. But we can ship said provisions to footfall? Not a chance. Any cargo shuttle that leaves the surface will be targeted for the attack. The rebels will hesitate to bring it down, sending flaming debris of the capital. Our silos would become targets for sabotage. Food poisoned at our mine and logistics of transportation supplies to footfall will only be possible once our uprising has been completely crushed. You neglected to mention the changes in the planet's flora and fauna. Magos Vinzelex is a very white man, but his fixation on evolutionary processes seem a little extreme to me. Janus was heavily cultivated, the forests were cleared, and the mountains raised across half of the planet. It's no surprise that we're still noticing consequences of those changes. It's possible that the plant mutations are connected to waste runoff from the harvesting equipment, and the changes in the wildlife behavior could be a reaction to the expansion of the cultivated area. Hortensia shakes her head with a laugh. Are you surprised by my knowledge of the topic? Our whole dynasty has dedicated itself to taming Janus. This wonderful yet stubborn planet, every member of the Viet family bloodline is versed in the fundamentals of planetary engineering and its consequences. Rumors have reached me about the oddities among Janus' population. I don't deny it. Some of our experiments exact a higher toll on the population than others. You see, recently one of the noble families of Janus had taken on the difficult task of enhancing the attributes of our workers. So far, it has involved introducing experimental supplements to their food and their mental conditioning in monitored settlements. Sometimes procedures are disrupted and part of the population suffers from side effects. Specialists of the Dravas family will be better placed to inform you on this topic, but alas, they are currently engaged in the field. You're forcing settlements to pay their tithes in human bodies? What? Really, Nero? You need to speak of it and actually believe in the claims of those wretched peasants. I don't ask anyone to pay their tithes in human bodies and reducing the burden on the settlements which have suffered as a result of unsuccessful experiments involving enriched food. And I'm gathering the worst affected subjects, those who are no longer capable of work for further study. Some among my circle would call such for the underclass a weakness which may have incited a rebellion among the emboldened rabble. Cassia nods in understanding. Theobald and Fedek tried to limit the effect of my powers had on the lowborn servants of Urak 5. These laboratoriums ran experiments on those who had the misfortune of losing their minds because of my gift. These tests increased our servant's lifespan, and then they joined Felix's side. The tech priest mentioned the ancient ruins belonging to Xenos. I know what you're referring, strange structures of an unknown material. For the prevention of any unfortunate accidents, I order the area to be declared out of bounds for all. Some things are better left off under a thick layer of dirt beyond the grasp of even the enlightened minds of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Tell me about Janus. Vincent leads forward. Janus is a remarkable world, both in terms of vast potential and in terms of the work that was carried out to transform it to an agri-world. House Viat has ruled on Janus for many generations, and each new governor has without fail contributed to the planet's taming. This world was once a wild planet full of xenobeasts and utterly unsuitable for growing anything. To this day, despite our best efforts, Janus regularly rebels against us. Earthquakes, tsunamis, the emergence of new pests and weeds that would invade the arable land. Sometimes I cannot help but think this world is endowed with a consciousness. The consciousness of a capricious and stubborn child that to spoil everything that we have achieved. What do you grow on Janus? Mainly helicon, flint corn, and red turnip. Apart from that, in the southern hemisphere, we have set aside vast tracts of land for the Grok's population. And of course, I cannot fail to mention several thousand acres of tilled land given over to cultivating fermentable fruit for personal use and limited export. Even for an agri-world in the back of Beyond, this place is a real dump. What do you all do here for fun when you have the free time, that is? If you're asking about our circle, then let me assure you, there are enough noble families on world to keep boredom at bay. I frequently host guests. Your lordship and my servants arrange suitable entertainments, from our parlor concerts to private executions of traitors who break imperial law. And who is this person standing next to you? Well, my ladies-in-waiting, Amelia. Amelia performs secretarial duties and helps me remain in constant contact with those families who are most responsible for the productivity and prosperity of Janus. I trust my advisors implicitly, and over time Amelia has become not a merely faithful companion, but almost my shadow. Losing her would be like losing my right hand. Vistenza laughs and gives Amelia an encouraging nod. Amelia drops into a low curtsy. To bathe in the light of your greatness is a true honor, rogue trader. My leave.
One step at a time, amidst the madness.
Oh, okay. That's how that works.
Curiosity sings in my veins.
Alantak, Ila gestures for your attention. As you once sought my help, I am now seeking yours. The time has come to dispel the final shadows on our path. I have hidden the truth from you. I know a great deal about those who are disturbing the peace of the local ruler, and I also know where they are hiding. I'll be to show you the way on the condition you bring me to them. Better late than never, I suppose. Show me the way. Let's go ahead and talk. I pray to the gods that we're not too late. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I am going to call my stream here. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys all in the next stream. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I hope my performances were good. Like I said, I'm trying voice acting a bit more, and if it sounds good to you, do let me know. It helps if I'm making progress or if I'm just deluding myself. Regardless, catch you guys all in the next one. Peace out.